Is this the turning point for a new world order? Hello, my beautiful friends. I'm Catherine Bachman, and this is Catherine Astrology YouTube. I'm a 40-year astrologer, 30-year in psychotherapy, and I am so honored to be able to share my knowledge with you in hopes of supporting your growth and helping us all to move through this time. Welcome to those of you that are new to my channel. I've been live since October 1st, so we're still new. And I really appreciate if you like this to please share my videos, to press the like button, subscribe, and leave comments because I do appreciate them and really value who you are and what you're doing in watching my videos. So please feel free to share if you think my messages would be helpful for anyone else. I do have a website. It's CatherineAstrology.com. And I have a whole menu of different types of consultations that I do or readings. But essentially from a first-time reading, which is a 2-hour videotaped consultation, I go over the birth chart and then give you current information and it's kind of what's coming up the year ahead. But I also do business consultations, couples, relationship compatibility consultations, and I do new baby charts for, once a baby does come into the world, they have a birth time. And so that new baby chart with my background in human development and 18 years in early childhood education is also a passion of mine to share with new parents because it is that baby manual that, when I was having my children, it's like, could you have provided a baby manual with this child? I don't quite know what to do. As all mothers and fathers, when they welcome their children, each is very unique, brings in their unique gifts and unique challenges. So those are there. If you have not ever had a birth chart done, I do offer free birth charts. Just click on the button on the main page of the website and put your information in, and I'm happy to send a JPEG to your email of your birth chart. I will also be having my tech person basically put a list of some of the books that I believe, the beginner books that would be really easy to learn, about your own birth chart. So if you're interested in astrology or interested in following along as we talk about that, I really do try to limit the amount of astro talk, the planets and the sextiles and that. I'm not here to teach astrologers. There's plenty. There are amazing astrologers out there that can give that kind of teaching and training. I have taught astrology as well, but my goal is to translate what I see in the stars into useful information for you. I'm also a pretty optimistic or positive astrologer. I do give a range of possibilities from here's the high end of this energy and here's the low, and there is free will, so you do have a choice. You have to show up and be responsible and do the work on the challenging things, and you have to pay attention and use your wisdom on the gifts or opportunities that come to you. I don't work with a fatalistic astrology perspective, and there are those out there that do that. So having said all that, how are you doing? Are you still breathing? It's taken me through the weekend, and today is Tuesday, March 4th. Happy Mardi Gras energy. This has been an intense time. I want to say insanity. It's like at the moment, words are all jumbled up in my brain. President Zelensky's visit to the Oval Office to sign an agreement around, precious minerals in in Ukraine to turn over to some degree a portion of that to Trump or the Trump administration. But it was very clear when, normally this would be between the president of one country and the president of another, but that room was full. And it was full of Republicans standing in the background. J.D. Vance was there. But also after the fact learned that the Russian government media, TASS or TASS. Anyway, their representative was in the room, plus all of the other media. And it wasn't, necessarily all the media, because they've already kicked a few of the U.S. media out because they didn't like what they were, reporting the news, what was going on. This felt like, and I think the conclusion has been that it was a big setup. Dictators and bullies will be bullies. I think they were all expecting a different reaction from Zelensky. And Zelensky is such a light being, a light worker. When I check in, he has just amazing guardian angels around him, as well as the physical angels on the planet that are protecting him. But he is a man with a great heart, and he loves his country, and he has done the almost impossible for 3 years, battling against Russian invasion of his country. Propaganda is trying to spin it that way and spin him as a dictator and these are all Putin talking points that are going on. Right now, I need to also say this is information only, entertainment only. I am an astrologer, and I do look at the energies, and these are my personal opinions about those energies. So from there, it's like entertainment only. There were some things that were said as I watched this in horror, this attack on Zelensky. I can't believe this is happening. And at the same time, of course, I could. But there were some things that Trump said that really disturbed me. And I needed to sit with them over the weekend. And I was kind of waiting and asking for my guides to bring the bigger picture and information to me. So this morning I woke up consciously about 4:00. Like I was already in process of seeing what was about to happen, and kind of putting all the pieces together. There were a few other pieces of information that I don't watch the mainstream media at all at this point, but that came through reliable media from around the world, more so than from our own country. And except for Democracy Now! I'm going to give Democracy Now! A big plug. They are independent media. They have been fighting for the truth. They are wholly subsidized by you, the viewers. I absolutely recommend, if you want a comprehensive, once a day, Democracy Now!, the War and Peace Report is a good place to start, and then augment by some of the other more independent media. And most of that you can find on YouTube. Several things, just kind of have not been on the radar. I've been slipping under the radar. And one of those things was that Joe Biden had, and, the Congress prior to Trump's inauguration had passed like a 99 or 91 billion package for Ukraine. I was concerned about whether that, with Doge, whether that was going to be released to Zelensky. And so having a confrontation in the Oval Office would give Trump the opportunity to deny sending those funds. He's been making noises or sounds related to the possibility of withdrawing from NATO, because he doesn't want to spend the money when the other countries, his excuses, whatever the excuse of the hour is. These are all Putin's wishes. These are all the things that Putin wants. And we are now aware that Trump has been an asset of the KGB, of Putin, since the 80s. trying to, kind of square that with how he's been able to get this far. And then I remember our own oligarchs, and we have oligarchs who are Nazis. And these guys with the Republican Party have been working on this all the way back since FDR, the 50s and the 60s. So there's that piece. In that attack on Zelensky, and afterwards, Trump basically stated that we are aligned with Russia. And in the last couple of days, he has ordered the Pentagon and, all of our Secret Service, I mean, not Secret Service, CIA, FBI, that none of them are to block or to monitor Russian interference in any of our electronic, computer, any of those kinds of arenas, which basically opens our country totally up with no defenses against a Russian attack on our infrastructure. So we are now an asset of Putin. Trump and the Republicans, and many of them went over, many of them have been, since Citizens United, anyone in the world could bribe our government. Thanks, Supreme Court. We're in a really bad place. And the New World Order, the title of this video is that we are at a turning point. We don't quite have the New World Order yet, although things are shifting and the dust is going to settle. But things are still escalating. And there's information still not been revealed and reported. It started to come out. Two different groups of people have been doing research into election interference in our country, just like the Russians did in the NATO countries. And so I think, with the eclipses that we have coming up mid-March and on the 14th in the Mercury retrograde, so retrograde planets and Mercury is our communications, our ideas, our discovering things that were not seen before. And then we have the equinox that comes in on the 20th as we move into Aries energy with Mercury retrograde. And then the 30th, we have the final, the second eclipse. So eclipses are the completion of 19-year cycles. And they usually expose a lot of stuff that we haven't seen. They are super retrograde kind of energies, but at the same time, completion of 19-year cycles and then the launching of the next 19-year cycle. So the completion side of this is this first eclipse. The moon is in Virgo, the sun is in Pisces. And so shining light on details that we may not have known about before. And they do expose deep, dark secrets. So there's lots of energy supporting the fact that we have two different groups, researching the election interference stuff that happened just like it did in the NATO countries. And then even more information coming out how far back these election interference things have been going on. This is the U.S. going through the dark night of the soul from our inception in 1776 until all the deep, dark secrets, all of the complicity, all of the shadow government kinds of things come out. It's going to be hard for us to heal and move forward, but it will happen. That is going to happen. This is the beginning of the exposure, kind of the beginning of the end, I guess you would say. Part of this program is, again, Trump with this Oval Office meeting, trying to shake down Zelensky or humiliate him and discombobulate him on some level. And the man was brilliant. He kept his calm. He is the epitome of a statesman, which Trump would have no clue as to what that is, right? He was humble. He was, no, my country is being bombed every day. He was giving honest answers in a situation that was not about him getting anything out there. What they were trying to do was discredit him. in order to then say, we're not sending the billions more. In fact, we're going to align with Russia, with Putin, because you caused this war. You don't have the cards here, as Trump said. But the part that really disturbed me, that I sat with all weekend, was you're going to be the one that's responsible for starting World War III. And Trump said that several times. So additional pieces of information that have come in over the weekend have been that our military, our bombers have been moved around to other bases. And intuitively, what I was getting was that if he's aligned with Putin and Putin is his last legs, his country is almost completely bankrupt, then what does he need most from Trump? Money and weapons. My sense and what I was seeing is that the next area of our government that's going to be deeply challenged will be our military. Either because Trump wants to send weapons to Russia and or troops. So I'm hoping that my intuitions, my dreams are not accurate. I'm hoping that in bringing them out into consciousness, that there is the opportunity for us to organize. What I do know is there's no more time to waste, that we truly do need to be calling Washington, be going to Washington, to be joining Indivisible and other 50501 organizations that are about 50 states, 50 capitals, and one people organized against a fascist government. Suddenly, we went from being the world leader to joining the axis of evil. I kind of hate that term, but joining the really toxic, fascist, vicious dictators that have no problem their own people, using their own people for whatever. I mean, this has really gotten bad. If, and here's the big if, we began to mobilize and I am joining the local Indivisible meeting and seeing how I can plug in my skills locally, and with these videos, inviting everyone to do what you can, whatever that is. Even if it's you can't leave the house, you could be on the internet, you could be contacting, with your phone. You can call congressmen and senators and say, this is not okay. Please find your courage. And if it's all you can do is pray, focus, ask, send energy, healing energy and heart-opening energy to our government, to those that are in the government that could stop this. And that's past presidents, retired people from positions of authority that do love democracy, do love our country. All of us. It's going to take the whole village to stop this. And once we're able to stop this, and the next 3 months are critical, particularly this month, and then at the end of April. Mars moves back into Leo in the latter part of April and does his last opposition to Pluto. And generally with astrology, with Saturn or Pluto, there may be 1 or 3 or 5 aspects that are, that happen during their transit through certain degrees. And during those time periods, I've found that the very last aspect, the first one is the wake-up call, the 2x4, and then all the others are kind of the either more of a 2x4 or a freight train trying to wake us up. The last one is the atom bomb, and that atom bomb, and literally, please God, don't let this end up with anything nuclear. This is not supposed to happen at this time. But I do have a sense that last Mars opposing Pluto can be violent, and it can be the most intense of the 5 aspects of Mars opposing Pluto since last fall. Pray for our leaders, pray for the Republicans and for the MAGAs, that their hearts begin to open and that opens their minds so that they can truly see what's going on and realize that they have been lied to, that these guys, it's like Russia and our own military, the PsyOps programs. As a therapist, it's like, I understand that, and in marketing, just look at, if you do any kind of marketing training, if you repeat a lie 6 or 7 times, people begin to believe it because they've heard it so many times. It must be true, right? This has been a very sophisticated, very focused attack on certain groups of people to pit them against other people so that we don't see that the oligarchs have stolen our country blind, so that we don't see the shadow government, so that we don't question the military's unlimited forever budget. The MAGAs are not the only ones who have been deceived. We have all been deceived. So from that place, find compassion for yourself and for them and for others. And please focus and pray hard for a heart opening, because this can be the transition into a 25,000 year period of peace. Are you willing? Well, maybe I should ask it this way. What are you willing to do? What is your soul wanting to do? Check in with yourself to see what is your part, what are your gifts, what can you do to help us expose and stop what's happening, to move us ever closer to civil society, to joining the galactic peoples of the cosmos, to uplifting all, to uplifting our families and our children, to provide for our elders. It's like we need to come back into family. It's only been 3 generations that have been born that of this separation. We're supposed to all go off and pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. There is a reason families stay close, because the parents can't always care for the children. So auntie or grandma can be there to care. And vice versa. There are times when the elders need to be cared for, to be helped. To our brothers and sisters needing to be helped. To our friends who become our families. So please open your hearts, take some time to go inside, rest, and then find what it is you feel you can do, because now is the time. We have to push back now. And my last video talked about part of the pushback is to do a nationwide worker strike. I still believe that that's a tool, but it takes all of it. It may take all of it to block this, because when I first went into astrology and we were looking forward and talking about this time that we're in now, we compared it to the 60s. And what I used to tell my clients and my family and friends is that the period that we're in right now is going to make the 60s look like milk toast. We had Kent State, we had the Vietnam War, we had, it was the lies and deceptions. It was a lot of corruption back in that time too. But this is a whole new league. And I don't know that any of us on the planet truly want this to go to any more of an extreme than what it is now. So if we don't want that, we all have to show up. on whatever level we can do that. So I'm going to sign off. I will be putting out weekly videos, usually on Fridays. You can contact me through my website if you have questions or want to give me feedback. That's fine too. Or at the bottom of the YouTube videos, there's comment section. Take care of yourselves. Get out and do some really good, wild and crazy fun. Get into some good trouble and rest. Take care of yourself. Connect with people. Okay, much love. Talk to you later.